What's up, guys? Theo here, and welcome back to the It Factor MMA. Coming to you with a quick prediction for Christian Leroy Duncan versus Claudio Ribeiro. So right now, DraftKings does not have an available line on this fight, but BetOnline has Christian Leroy Duncan as a minus 225 favorite, and the comeback on Claudio Ribeiro plus 190. And guys, I already know I'm going to get clowned for this pick, so don't even come into the comments sounding like a smartass, putting clown emojis in there. But something is just wanting me to pick Claudio Ribeiro in this fight, and not sure I can necessarily articulate a super great argument for it, but I do feel that something is a little awry about this fight. So first of all, when I was looking at this matchup, just thinking about it before doing any kind of tape or research or anything, I really thought that I would see Christian Leroy Duncan be a minus 600 favorite at this point on DraftKings. But the line is a lot closer than I really anticipated it to be. Like I said, I expected to see Ribeiro be like a plus 300, plus 400 underdog against this guy. CLD is a pretty hype prospect. Everyone kind of knows that he's got really creative striking. He's fun to watch inside the octagon, but he's had mixed results in the UFC so far. And Claudio Ribeiro, you know, the guy has really long striking. He's quite predictable. And he's just a bad nail, man. Just like assume that he's the brother of the other Ribeiro, Brenson Ribeiro, that fought recently. But very similar fighting style, quite predictable. They can knock people out. But if you play around in the octagon, you can knock them out very easily, you know what I mean? So it's kind of just a weird matchup in that regard, and that I kind of feel like everybody's going to be on CLD this week, and I'm surprised he's not a bigger favorite. And I'm also surprised DraftKings doesn't have a line out on him, so I don't know what's going on. This card has had a lot of really weird matchups dropping out, whatnot. I don't think there's like a really strong consensus for who's actually fighting on this card yet, and for all we know, this fight could be called off tomorrow because it's listed on UFC's website, but it's not. The odds aren't available on DraftKings, which is very odd, and also Tapology has already lost. They've already said that 3 fights have been called off of this card, and they have CLD on there. But for whatever reason, just there's something weird going on with this fight. I don't know if people think it's off or somebody might be hurt or something. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, I just got this nagging voice in the back of my head telling me to pick Claudio Ribeiro here. I don't really know why, but I feel like when I watch CLD fight, he kind of should be the favorite here because he's got more creative striking and he's willing to experiment and put himself in danger and do things. And he's got kind of this interesting, almost like rope-a-dope style. I think he styles himself after John Jones. I recall the commentator saying something like that. Big John Jones fan, and he kind of tries to fight like him. He does interesting things. You know, there was a point in the fight against Armen Petrosyan where he had his back. He literally had his back turned to Armen Petrosyan, and he was moving like as if he had his front. It was super weird. So he just likes to get in there, and he likes to flow. I think he's like a pretty chill fighter in that way. I don't think he's like super hard on himself or anything. He kind of likes to go in there and just let things happen and be creative. And I respect that, and it's cool. But, you know, sometimes I feel like he is not able to finish people that he should be easily finishing because he's spending too much time like playing around and like resetting, trying to like do these crazy things. When he gets openings, it's almost like he sees an opening as an opportunity to like land a 360 no-scope shot or something instead of like going in and actually finishing his opponent. And with someone like Denis Tululin, he should have really finished Denis Tululin in the first round, and he tagged him up, beat him up, and he just wasn't able to. So he had to rely on the attrition of the damage, and eventually he did TKO Denis in the second round, but I don't consider that a very good win because Denis Tululin sucks, and he's been looking horrible in every single one of his fights lately. And yeah, like I said, I know people are going to say this is ridiculous, but when I watch Christian Leroy Duncan fight, I just feel like he is vulnerable to somebody who's tall and long like him that can put powerful strikes straight down the center. I feel like he's vulnerable, and I can just see him getting knocked out that way. And that's really the only thing that Ribeiro is good at, right? He doesn't have great lateral movement. He has very predictable head movement and quite predictable striking, but he's really great at firing these powerful kicks and punches straight down the middle at you. He doesn't play around. People don't want to stand with this guy. You can see that. They try to take him down. They try to push him against the fence. And for some reason, CLD, in that first round of that Dennis Tululin fight, he went out there and he made that first round extremely boring. He pushed Dennis Tululin against the cage, and he literally held him there the entire round, barely even moving. I don't know how the ref didn't separate them at multiple times throughout that round. But that was just weird, man. I don't know if CLD went in there injured. I don't know what the hell was going on with that, but he fought basically the most boring first round of any fight I've ever seen in my entire life. And then, like, the second round styled on him and knocked him out. I feel like that was the Tululin fight, but one of his fights, he spent the first round holding the guy against the cage. I don't know what the fuck the deal with that was, but yeah, he just doesn't quite capitalize on moments the way that you really want him to. And, you know, given that he has more creative striking, more versatile striking, you would think he'd be a massive favorite here. And I just feel like maybe the bookies know something or something, because a minus 225, I mean, that's not really super high of a line for this type of matchup. So people that are making lines are seeing something here that is causing them to think this guy should not be a gigantic favorite. He should be a large favorite, not a gigantic one. Which leads me to believe that, I mean, some people are seeing some of the same vulnerabilities with his style that I'm seeing. I just feel like when I'm watching CLD fight, I'm waiting on someone to clip him any second to knock him out. And he hasn't really shown that. He hasn't shown a particularly bad chin, so I don't know why I think that. But I feel like he's just too live to make the fight fun. And I feel like he is going to get taken advantage of one day by one of these dudes that can stand there and just throw power straight down the center. And, you know, Ribeiro has some slick knockouts, and he's been knocked out himself. And he doesn't really have the most well-rounded game, but CLD is probably not going to take him down. I mean, the thing is, CLD kind of fights like a very high IQ fighter, but he doesn't try to capitalize on wrestling or grappling that I'm sure he's capable of doing. He doesn't really try to use it against other strikers because, you know, like Armin Petrosian has a very bad ground game, and CLD did not try to take advantage of it at all. He stood there and struck with him the whole round because he wanted to. He wanted to have fun. And I just feel like if he doesn't knock Claudio Ribeiro out quickly, which he really hasn't been doing to anybody, Claudio Ribeiro is live in the first round here to just, I mean, hit him with something. You know, I feel like Claudio is the type of dude that's going to stay in the pocket and stay in those boxing exchanges, and maybe, you know, CLD is going to think he's a little slicker than he really is. He's going to try to rope a dope and do some kind of weird thing, and I don't know, man. I've just got this mental image I can't get out of my head of him getting just clipped by just a long kick or a long punch from Claudio Ribeiro. So give me Claudio Ribeiro here at plus 190, guys. I assume when the line hits DraftKings, it's going to be something similar. Like I said, I know I'm going to get clowned for this pick. I don't really give a shit if I'm the only dude on earth picking Claudio Ribeiro here. I feel like making a ballsy play, and I feel like this is the spot on the card. So we're going to open it up greasy, and we're going to go with the underdog in Claudio Ribeiro. Keep it locked in, guys. More picks coming later this week.